I mentioned that I might do a video about this during my Season 4 animatic video, and, well, here it is, my top 10 favorite cartoons ever. Before we get into this, I feel like a disclaimer is necessary because I just know that at some point someone's going to ask why I didn't include their favorite cartoon. So, really quickly, I never really got into The Simpsons, Family Guy has grown stale for me, Adventure Time is pretty much hit or miss for me, I've never watched The Cleveland Show, Bob's Burgers, or Archer despite lots of people telling me I need to do so. The Powerpuff Girls, Gravity Falls, and Phineas and Ferb just missed the cut, and I don't watch much anime. Okay? Okay, to the list. At number 10, we start off with Seth MacFarlane's best product, in my opinion, American Dad. Oh, come on, don't give me that look. Look, I know that the internet's come to a consensus that Seth MacFarlane is pretty much the Antichrist, but honestly, I've never had a problem with his stuff. I honestly think that the major reason Family Guy is as unpopular as it is because of oversaturation. At pretty much any given time, Family Guy is on some channel. It's possible that 5 years from now, if American Dad is still on the air, I'll be tired of it too. But for now, American Dad is still entertaining to me. Stan is still endearing, Steve is funny in that awkward, dweeby kind of way, and Klaus is funny too whenever the show finds something to do with him. And if nothing else, it's fun to see what Roger will get away with from week to week. Also, I've been told I look a little like Steve. I'm not sure if I should take that as a compliment or not, but thanks anyway. American Dad is currently in its 9th season with the promise of a 10th and 11th season to come. Pay close attention because this is the only anime you're going to find on my list. At number 9, we have the Dragon Ball series. When I was younger, I was a pretty big anime fan. I liked the younger themed stuff like Pokemon and Hamtaro, but I also liked the heavier stuff like Sailor Moon, Big O, Cyborg 009, and of course Dragon Ball. However, for some reason Dragon Ball sticks out in my mind. Maybe because it's the internet's favorite anime. Every day when I came home from school, Toonami was the first thing on my mind, even though my babysitting grandma was watching it with me, no doubt with a feeling of perplexity. But for some reason, during the Majin Buu saga, I just stopped watching it. No idea why. But nonetheless, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z have stuck with me, and I still remember it fondly. Across all 3 series, it's lasted 22 seasons with over 500 episodes, along with a revised version of Dragon Ball Z called Dragon Ball Kai, and 18 movies. Next at number 8, we have Codename Kids Next Door. This show came out at just about the perfect time to reel me in. The show is about a group of preteens who fight against bullies, teenagers, and adults in order to maintain their childhood fun. And it just so happened to debut when I was 11 years old, just old enough to be a member of the group. And imagine my surprise when it was mentioned in the Season 2 finale that certain exceptional members of the Kids Next Door could remain in the group as double agents past their 13th birthday, literally 3 months before my 13th birthday. Sometimes these things just work out perfectly. The show lasted for 6 seasons with 80 episodes, 2 movies, and a crossover with Ed, Edd n Eddy and Billy and Mandy. At number 7, we get a bit of an obscure cartoon. Code Monkeys was aired on G4 and was a last-ditch effort by the channel to keep it vaguely video game related. It took place in an 80s-era video game company, and it successfully parodies and/or lampoons all of the key 80s video game moments, from E.T. and the video game crash of '83, to the rise of Nintendo and the video game renaissance of '85, to Mega Man, to Castlevania, to Zelda, and much more. And a lot of the characters, despite being completely deranged and possibly evil, are still fairly endearing. The main character, Dave, is either drunk, stoned, and/or horny at all times, but he's sane enough to get stuff done when the time comes. And the boss, Mr. Larity, is a Texas businessman who knows nothing about video games besides the fact that they'll make him rich. So he's basically John Riccatello in a cowboy hat, badum-tish. Unfortunately, the show was canned after just 2 seasons with 26 episodes, when the higher-ups at G4 said, let's end this whole nerd charade and focus on airing cheaters and cops. Can you tell I don't like that channel anymore? At number 6, we have Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. This is must-watch stuff for the Lauren Faust fans out there, as this is what Lauren cut her teeth on before she was tasked with the revival of My Little Pony. And Faust's influence is evident. This show is basically a checklist of what makes Lauren Faust a great cartoonist. Weird, fantastical creatures with unique powers? Check. Well-realized child characters? Check. Relatable female characters? Check. Plus, the characters are pretty adorable. I mean, just look at Eduardo. He's so adorable. I just want to pinch his cheeks. He's so freaking adorable. Foster's Home aired for 6 seasons with 79 episodes, along with 18 shorts. Time to kick off the top 5 with Courage the Cowardly Dog at number 5. How in the hell did this show get on the air with only a Y7 rating, and who do I have to thank for that? technically that would be John R. Dilworth. So thank you, John R. Dilworth! It's a real shame that shows like Courage, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and anything from R.L. Stine aren't that popular anymore, because not long ago, horror cartoons were fairly common and pretty good. And Courage was at the head of the pack of the horror tunes. There was just something eerie about Courage. The show is absolutely scary on multiple levels. Sometimes it's just with quick little jump scares, but some of them are deep and downright terrifying if you're willing to think a little. And the show takes on some really heavy topics for a show so cartoonish, such as domestic abuse, serial killers, misandry, parental loss, prostitution, and possibly sexual abuse. But don't think this show is all doom and gloom, because while the show is creepy and isn't afraid to have a message, it still knows how to have fun, and can provide some seriously side-splittingly funny moments. Although this show is responsible for this thing coming into existence. Seriously, what the fuck is that fucking thing? Oh god, I'll never sleep again. The show lasted 4 seasons with 53 episodes. I mentioned in my review of Lesson 0 that my favorite part of MLP was the comedy, but I also think that the characters, story, and adventures are top-notch. This show really is the full package, and Friendship is Magic would be significantly poorer without those things. Now, if you replace Friendship is Magic with Teen Titans, you'll have my reasoning as to why Teen Titans is number 4 on this list. Teen Titans is similar to MLP in that regard because Teen Titans did pretty much everything well, outperforming its iterations in all regards. The comedy was there, and it was great, but this show also knew when the time for jokes stopped and when shit got serious, like in the Season 2 finale when Tara sacrificed herself to save both the city and the Titans. It was heavy stuff, and it still gets to me even today. Another great thing about the show is the great chemistry the Titans had with each other, particularly the friendship between Beast Boy and Cyborg and the romance between Robin and Starfire. And on the other side, the mistrust between Raven and Tara was well executed, and it led to one of the more interesting episodes of the series. Plus, Tara Strong voices Raven, so flawlessness. Teen Titans aired for 5 seasons and lasted 65 episodes, plus a lost episode and a movie, Trouble in Tokyo. Next is number 3. We've all seen Futurama, right? Okay, good. Moving on. At number 2... Okay, you know what? I can't do that. I have to talk a little bit about Futurama, right? But honestly, what more can be said about Futurama that wouldn't be stating the obvious? Futurama is in many people's opinion the best animated series on television today, and if it weren't for a certain Technicolor Magical Ponies show, it would be mine as well. Although, I think one of the more underrated strengths of the show is its ability to give me the feels. 2 episodes in particular stand out in my mind in that regard, Luck of the Friarish and Jurassic Bark. I don't even have a brother, and Luck of the Friarish still made me cry. Seriously, I don't know what else to say. This show has a great premise, great voice acting, and it's well told. If you aren't watching Futurama, remedy that problem. It's in its 9th and final season with 140 episodes in the books by the time it wraps up, which includes 4 movies plus a crossover with The Simpsons coming up in the future. Now, I say it's in its final season, but Futurama has been canceled once already, and the crew apparently has, quote, many more stories to tell, so it may not be done just yet. On to number 2, for real this time. At number 2, it's My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Now, before anyone rips me a new plot hole for not putting MLP in my number 1 spot, first off, my list. Second, I do think that this show is the best animated thing on TV right now, and if it weren't for Mythbusters, MLP would probably be the best thing ever. Honestly, there's only one big thing I don't like about MLP, and that's Hasbro's constant habit of sticking their dick in the proverbial pudding. I may have a video planned about Hasbro's relationship with Friendship is Magic, but long story short, nearly all of the problems in the Brony fandom could be cleared up if Hasbro wasn't a bunch of money-grubbing assholes. Other than that, we all know how great this show is. It's a wonderful show made by a bunch of people who legitimately give a damn, and aren't just here for the quick paycheck. You also probably know that the show is 3 seasons in with 65 episodes, with Season 4 just around the corner. So here we are. Number 1, and all the usual suspects have already been mentioned. So what's my favorite cartoon ever? Well, to answer that, I need to tell a little story. You see, I'm a bit of what you might call a nostalgia whore. A while ago I made a top 25 video games list on DeviantArt, and my number 2 game on that list was Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, a game that I've described as, quote, damn near perfect. It's a fantastic game and a wonderful example of what a sequel really needs to accomplish. Take the bad stuff, make it good. Take the good stuff, bring it back in droves. But there was one game that I liked more. That game was Pokemon Crystal, and since it was a portable game, it dominated my childhood in ways Ripto's Rage couldn't. So Pokemon Crystal, despite being technically worse, ended up getting my top spot. Similarly, Friendship is Magic is possibly the best animated show on television today, but I hold one cartoon in even higher regard, and that cartoon is Tom and Jerry. There's just something timeless about Tom and Jerry. The first episode came out in 1940, and over 50 years later, when my mom and I were watching the syndicated episodes, we were both laughing our butts off. It has a very simple premise, but the show took the idea of a cat chasing a mouse and took it in some interesting directions. My favorite episode, Designs on Jerry, involved Tom creating a Rube Goldberg machine to make the perfect mouse trap. The cat and mouse on the blueprint somehow come to life, and Jerry and the blueprint mouse spend the episode screwing around with the blueprint cat by drawing tiny legs on him or unraveling him, or other kinds of slapstick humor you'd expect from a show like this. Simply put, this show is simple, elegant, and flawless in its execution. From 1940 to 1967, 162 animated shorts aired, 2 more have been made since then, along with 11 movies. You know, it's kind of strange. It wasn't long ago that I thought animation quality was beginning to wane. Shows like Chowder and the total drama shows made me think that cartoons were beginning to become inferior to what they were in the past. But with shows like Friendship is Magic, the second incarnation of Futurama, Gravity Falls, and Adventure Time, it honestly gives me hope for the future of animation. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to know why I didn't put a certain cartoon on here, leave a comment and I'll address them in my 1,000 DeviantArt watchers Ask Me Anything special. And if you have any other questions you want me to answer, ask them anyway. I'm getting pretty close to 1,000 watchers, so ask away. See y'all later.